The glass trembled in his hand, just slightly, but enough for him to notice. Ethan Cole stared at it. Dark liquid, smooth surface, almost perfect. Too perfect. Across the table. His wife smiled. "Drink," she said softly. Her voice was calm, warm, almost loving, but something about it felt wrong. Ethan didn't move. "Why aren't you drinking?" she asked. He forced a small smile. "I was just thinking." Victoria tilted her head. About what?" Ethan looked at her, really looked this time. And for the first time in years, he noticed something he had missed. Her eyes. They weren't warm. They weren't kind. They were waiting. "Nothing," he said. He lifted the glass slowly. The room felt quiet. Too quiet. Even the air felt heavy, like it was holding its breath. Ethan brought the glass closer to his lips. Closer, closer, and then a voice. Soft, almost a whisper, from somewhere behind him. "Don't drink that." Ethan froze. The voice didn't belong in that room. It was too small, too quiet, too unexpected. Ethan lowered the glass slightly. Victoria's smile faded, just for a second. "What was that?" she asked. Ethan turned his head slowly, toward the doorway. And there, standing quietly, was a girl. She couldn't have been older than 10. Simple clothes, barefoot, watching, her eyes locked on his, serious, certain. "You shouldn't drink that," she said again. Silence filled the room, heavy, sharp. Victoria stood up abruptly. "Who are you?" she demanded. The girl didn't answer. She just kept looking at Ethan, and something about that look felt real, more real than anything else in that room. Ethan placed the glass down, slowly, carefully. Victoria stepped closer. "Ethan, this is ridiculous," she said. "She's just a child." Ethan didn't respond, because his mind was already moving, fast, connecting things, the headaches, the weakness, the strange taste, the nights he couldn't sleep, the moments he almost collapsed, and now this. He looked at the girl again. "How do you know that?" he asked. The girl hesitated, then said, "Because I've seen it before." Her name was Lila. No one knew where she came from. The staff had never mentioned her. The security system had no record of her entering. It was as if she had always been there, invisible, unnoticed, until now. Victoria stepped forward. "You need to leave," she said coldly. Lila didn't move. She looked at Ethan, not at Victoria. Only him. "You're getting sick," she said. Slowly. Ethan felt something tighten in his chest. "How do you know that?" Lila's voice dropped. "'Cause that's how it starts." Victoria laughed softly. "This is absurd." She picked up the glass, held it out again. "Drink." Ethan didn't take it. Not this time. Something had changed. A small shift, but enough. "I'm not thirsty," he said. Victoria's eyes hardened, just slightly. "You need to drink." Ethan shook his head. "No." Silence. Long. Uncomfortable. Then Victoria placed the glass back on the table, but this time her smile didn't return. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He sat in his office, lights off, only the city outside, thinking, replaying everything. The girl, the warning, Victoria's reaction. It didn't feel random. It felt precise. He stood up, walked slowly through the hallway. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Then he saw her, Lila, standing near the stairs, waiting. "You came back," Ethan said. Lila nodded. I didn't leave. Ethan frowned. What do you mean? Lila looked at him. I've been here. Ethan stepped closer. Tell me what you meant. Lila hesitated, then said, my father got sick. Ethan listened. No one knew why. Doctors said he was fine, but he kept getting worse. Ethan felt a chill run through him. And then, he asked. Lila looked down. He died. Silence. Then she looked back at Ethan. My stepmother did the same thing. The words hit harder than anything else. Ethan leaned against the wall. Everything was connecting now. Too perfectly, too clearly. This isn't possible, he said, but his voice lacked conviction, because deep down, he already knew. He looked toward the kitchen, toward the glass, toward Victoria, and for the first time, he wasn't thinking like a husband. He was thinking like a man in danger. Ethan didn't touch the drink again. Not that night. Not the next morning. Not even when Victoria brought him coffee herself. He watched her, carefully. Every movement, every expression, every pause. Why are you looking at me like that? She asked. Ethan leaned back slightly. Like what? Victoria smiled. But it didn't reach her eyes. Like you don't trust me. Ethan said nothing. Instead, he reached for the cup, slowly, raised it, and then stopped. Right before drinking, Victoria's fingers tightened slightly around the table. Almost unnoticeable, but Ethan saw it. That was enough. He placed the cup back down, untouched. Later that night, Ethan found Lila again. She was sitting near the window, watching the dark. You were right, he said quietly. Lila didn't look surprised. I know. Ethan sat across from her. How long has this been happening to me? Lila thought for a moment, a while. Ethan frowned. Weeks? Lila shook her head. Longer. Silence. Ethan's chest tightened. Why didn't I notice? Lila looked at him. Because you trusted her. That answer hurt more than anything else. Ethan began paying attention, not just to Victoria, but to everything. The food, the drinks, the timing, the symptoms, and slowly, a pattern appeared. Every time Victoria prepared something for him, he felt worse. Every time he refused, he felt slightly better. Subtle, but real, and now impossible to ignore. The next evening, Victoria sat across from him again. Same table, same calm posture, same glass. You're not eating much, she said. Ethan shrugged. Not hungry. Victoria tilted her head. That's not like you. Ethan smiled faintly. Maybe I'm changing. Silence. Then she said something unexpected. You've been different lately. Ethan looked at her. How? Victoria's eyes stayed fixed on his. More careful. That word hung in the air, heavy, sharp. Ethan stood up slowly, walked around the table, stopped right in front of her, close, too close. Let me ask you something, he said. Victoria didn't move. What? Ethan's voice lowered. What's in the drink? Silence. Complete. Victoria didn't blink, didn't react. For a moment, it felt like time had stopped. Then she smiled. You're being paranoid. Ethan didn't smile back. Am I? Victoria leaned back slightly. Yes, because if I wanted to hurt you, she paused, I wouldn't make it so obvious. That sentence was calm, logical, and terrifying. Ethan stepped back, slowly, because now he understood something important. She wasn't panicking, she wasn't afraid, which meant she believed she was still in control. and that made her more dangerous, not less. That night, Lila spoke again, but this time her voice was different. More serious, more urgent. "You don't have much time," she said. Ethan frowned. "What do you mean?" Lila looked at him. "The poison is slow, but not that slow." Ethan felt his stomach drop. "How long?" Lila hesitated, then answered, "Not long." Silence. Then Ethan asked something he had been avoiding. "How do you know all of this?" Lila didn't answer immediately. Then she said something that changed everything, "Because I didn't stop it in time before." Ethan didn't sleep. Not even for a minute. He sat in his office, thinking, calculating, not as a husband, not as a victim, but as something else. Someone who needed to survive. By morning, he had a plan. Not perfect, not safe, but necessary. Victoria entered the room again, holding a glass, just like before. "Drink," she said. Ethan smiled, took the glass, looked at her, and said calmly, "Let's make this interesting." Victoria raised an eyebrow. "Oh?" Ethan nodded, yes. He lifted the glass slightly, but didn't drink. Instead, he walked toward her, held the glass out. "Why don't you drink first?" Silence. This time, Victoria hesitated. The glass remained between them, Ethan's hand steady. Victoria's eyes locked on his. For the first time, she didn't move immediately, didn't smile, didn't speak, just watched, carefully, measuring him. "You're joking," she said finally. Ethan tilted his head slightly. "Am I?" Victoria let out a soft laugh, light, controlled, but there was something different now, something tighter. "You've been under a lot of stress," she said. "Maybe you should rest." Ethan didn't lower the glass. "I think I've been resting for too long." Silence. Victoria stood up slowly, walked around the table, closer to him, close enough that he could see the change in her expression. The softness was gone, completely. "What are you doing, Ethan?" she asked quietly. Ethan's voice didn't change. "Trying to stay alive." That was the moment. The exact moment everything shifted. Victoria stopped pretending. Her face changed. Not dramatically, not suddenly, but enough. Enough for the truth to finally show. "You shouldn't have listened," she said. Ethan's grip tightened slightly. "To who?" Victoria's eyes flicked, just for a second, toward the hallway, toward where Lila had stood before, and that was all Ethan needed. Victoria exhaled slowly, then smiled. Not the same smile as before. This one was honest, cold, sharp. "You were never supposed to notice this early," she said. Ethan didn't move. "How long?" Victoria thought for a moment. "Long enough." "That's not an answer." Victoria stepped closer. "Months." The word landed heavy. Ethan felt it, not as shock, as confirmation. "And all this time," he said quietly, "you were just waiting." Victoria nodded. "Yes." "For what?" She didn't hesitate. "For you to disappear." Ethan studied her, not as a husband, as someone trying to understand a threat. "Why?" he asked. Victoria laughed softly. "You really don't see it." Ethan didn't respond. Victoria walked past him, slowly, looking around the room, at everything. At this house, at your company, at your life. She turned back to him. "You had everything." Ethan's voice stayed low, "And so did you." Victoria shook her head. No. Her tone hardened. You had control. Silence. And I was just part of it. Ethan frowned slightly. That's not true. Victoria stepped closer again. You never saw me, Ethan. The words weren't loud, but they were heavy. You saw a role, a partner, a piece of your image. She paused, but never me. Silence filled the room. And for a moment, Ethan didn't respond, because part of him knew there was truth in that. But truth didn't justify what she had done. You could have left, Ethan said. Victoria smiled. That's the difference between us. Silence. You think people walk away from power. She shook her head slowly. They take it. Ethan's eyes narrowed slightly. And killing me was the way. Victoria didn't blink. Yes, Ethan lowered the glass, not because he gave up, because he understood. This wasn't about convincing her. This wasn't about emotion. This was about control. And she still believed she had it. That was her mistake. Ethan stepped back slightly, then said something simple. You're right. Victoria frowned. What? Ethan nodded. You're right. Silence. Victoria studied him. Confused, suspicious. What are you doing? She asked. Ethan looked at her calmly, finishing this. Then he placed the glass down, reached slowly toward the side of the table, and pressed a small hidden button. The door opened instantly. Not slowly, not hesitantly, decisively. Marcus walked in, followed by 2 security officers. Victoria froze. For the first time, real fear appeared. What is this? She asked sharply. Ethan didn't look at her. We have everything, he said. Marcus stepped forward, placed a folder on the table. Documents, lab reports, recorded footage, every glass, every dose, every moment. Victoria looked at them, then at Ethan. You planned this? Ethan shook his head. No. He finally looked at her again. You did. Victoria stepped back slowly, her control slipping, her composure cracking. This proves nothing, she said quickly. Marcus answered calmly. It proves everything. Silence. Heavy. Final. The officers stepped forward. Victoria didn't resist, but as they took her away, she looked back at Ethan, not with anger, not with hatred, with something else. Regret. Maybe. But too late. The room became quiet again. Too quiet. Ethan stood still, breathing slowly, trying to process everything. Then, a small voice. She didn't stop. Ethan turned. Lila stood there, watching, just like before. You did, Ethan said. Lila shook her head. No, you listened. The door closed, and just like that, everything was over. Or at least, it should have been. But the room didn't feel lighter. It felt empty. Ethan stood still, looking at the table, at the glass, at the place where everything almost ended. His breathing was steady, but his mind was not. Marcus stepped closer. It's done, he said. Ethan didn't respond, because some things don't end the moment they stop. They stay. Quiet, invisible, heavy. Hours later, the house was different. Security increased, staff whispering, everything controlled, everything contained. But Ethan sat alone, in the same chair, at the same table, looking at the same glass, untouched. He reached for it, stopped halfway, then pulled his hand back. Not out of fear, out of awareness. Trust doesn't break loudly, it disappears slowly. And once it's gone, everything feels different. You're still thinking about it. Ethan looked up. Lila stood in the doorway, Same calm presence, same quiet eyes. "You didn't leave," he said. Lila shook her head. "I told you, I've been here." Ethan studied her. There was something about her that didn't fit, not in a strange way, in a deeper way. "How did you know?" he asked. Lila walked closer. "Because I've seen it before." Ethan frowned. "You said that?" Lila nodded. "And it's still true." Ethan leaned forward slightly. "Tell me." Lila hesitated, not because she didn't want to answer, because the answer mattered. "My father," she said quietly, "trusted someone too." Ethan listened. "He got sick, slowly, just like you." Silence, and no one believed him. Ethan's chest tightened. "What happened to him?" Lila looked down, then back at Ethan. "He didn't survive." The words landed softly, but deeply. "And you?" Ethan asked. Lila's voice dropped. "I saw everything." Ethan sat back slowly. The room felt smaller, more real. "You saved me," he said. Lila shook her head again. "No." She looked at him. "You saved yourself." Ethan frowned. "How?" Lila's answer was simple. "You listened." Days passed. The investigation continued. The truth spread quietly, controlled, handled. But inside Ethan, something had changed. Not dramatically, not suddenly, but permanently. He noticed things now. Small things, details, silences, expressions, things he had ignored his entire life. Power had made him blind, and losing control had made him see. Ethan found Lila one last time, standing near the window, looking outside. "You're going to leave," he said. Lila didn't turn. "Yes." Ethan walked closer. "Where?" Lila smiled faintly. "Somewhere else." Silence. "You always appear where you're needed?" Ethan asked. Lila looked at him. "Something like that." Ethan studied her. There was still something he didn't understand. Something just beyond reach. "Will I see you again?" he asked. Lila didn't answer immediately, then said, "Not if you remember what you learned." That night, Ethan stood alone, looking out over the city. The same power, the same world. But nothing felt the same. He thought about everything. The glass, the silence, the betrayal, and the girl. The one person no one noticed. The one person who saw everything. And, in the end, he understood something simple. It wasn't the poison that almost killed him. It was trust, placed in the wrong person. And sometimes, the only thing that saves you is the one voice no one else hears.